I'm Jake Hinder with the National Association of Expert Advisors, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the exact step-by-step process for how to go from about 75 transactions to over 300 transactions, and honestly up to 500 transactions. I've done as many as 531 transactions in a single calendar year. So above that, I would have to tell you that if you're wanting to do more than 531, you're probably in the wrong place, because I've not ever done that. So, and I don't really think that's really what your goal is. At that point, you're really focused on profitability and building a profitable business, which this is exactly what we're going to share with you here is the most profitable way to, and the fastest way to grow your business. If you're stuck at that 100, usually the folks that we talk to, we work with, and we specialize in helping is anywhere in that 75 transaction range or even below, down to 25. But at this point, if you're trying to get to 300 and that's the ceiling that you ran into, this is the steps and this is the process that will set you free to get to 300 transactions. So what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the process, and then we're going to talk about the 3 listing pillars that have to be in place, and then we're going to talk about how to maximize that before we move on to amplification. And really, the amplification is the Holy Grail. This is the really the shift in the business happens at these 2 stages, from you chasing the business and feeling like maybe you're working really hard, and a lot of the business you have to go out and get, and it's not 100% sure if that business is going to come in every month or not. And you're getting referrals, you've been doing this a while, you're having success, but you're working a lot, and the phone isn't ringing off the hook from marketing that's getting results, with people just saying, I want to come list my house, come list my house, come list my house. And when you get to above 100, 150 transactions, you generally will have had to have solved that differentiation and marketing positioning challenge to get the phones to ring off the hook. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down for you kind of how to do that. So there's a right and a wrong way. So the hardest way to do it is to not do it this way. Okay, so there's obviously a lot of ways to do it. I've seen agents get to to 150, 160, 180 transactions, 200 transactions, only to completely torpedo their business because they built it with the wrong kind of structure, and they added a bunch of agents, and then they're managing all these agents. And if you have a team currently, or if you've made a few hires and have made a few bad hires, you probably recognize that pain of having a bunch of agents and trying to manage them on a day-to-day basis and do the work that's driving revenue. So we're going to talk about what this process is. So to go from 75 to 300 transactions, the natural challenge that you run up against is, how am I going to do this the most profitable way? And this is not the question that usually gets asked first. It's usually after you get to 300 deals and you're working just as hard as you were, you realize, man, there's got to be a better way. And almost everyone that we haven't coached that comes to us at this level has some questions as to why am I not making any more money than when I was doing 100 deals, and now I'm doing 300. I got all these agents and all this overhead and all this expense, and it's not working. So here's the process. So it comes down to the 3 listing pillars that you have to have in place. And I've never ever seen this be successful without these pillars either having been used to catapult you to the 100+ number of transactions and afford to spend some money in marketing in the right ways, or have these pillars in place. Ultimately, what I like to call them is oil wells. And an oil well is something that once you do it, you get it in place, you get a process in place, and it consistently happens, and then you do another oil well. Now you got 2 oil wells. And then you want to have a 3rd oil well. And what generally happens is we start doing something, it works, and then we try to add something, and then this one stops, and we stop doing anything, and this oil well is not pumping anymore. So, and what I mean by oil wells is the target, what is the lowest cost? Either you have a whole lot of money, and which you may have at this point if you're at this range of trying to get to 300, and we'll get to that here in a second, how to invest that more wisely. And it's not on the buy side, I will mind you. Is how do you get the phone to ring off the hook with the Holy Grail is, how do you get the phone to ring off the hook with sellers that want to list with you, that see you as the expert in the marketplace, the only viable choice to do business with. So the three listing pillars are this simple. You have to have, and you probably aren't going to want to hear this, but I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. So it's for sale by owner, expired and home evaluation, and here's why. And I'm going to show you how to make this easy. So if you think this is, and you probably, my guess is, if you're watching this video, that you probably have had some success with FSBO and expired at some level, and you just quit doing it. That would be my guess. So the benefit is, there's one other, I'm going to add, I'm not going to add a fourth category. There's one other category that I'm not going to get into because it's not such a major focus, and it's not really as, it's just not as, it's a good return on investment, but it's a segment of the market you may or may not want to go over, and that's that, I want to buy homes for cash. So like for instance, Come List Me, leads.com is an example of that. House Buyer Network is another example of that. People that are going to sell their house and they're looking for someone to buy it for cash are a great candidate. They're highly motivated. And anything you're doing in your real estate business, if you want to get to 300 transactions, you got to find the people that are highly motivated. Marketing to people that aren't highly motivated is not going to be it's not going to help you replicate and grow and duplicate, the things you're doing to be successful at a pace that's going to be repeatable at 300 deals, 20, 30 deals every single month coming in. So we're trying to get to 25 transactions in a month. You need to have some things that are consistently driving qualified, motivated sellers to you. So, there is no substitute for this. So we're in the market of Frisco, Texas, and at the current time, we are experiencing the biggest market I've ever seen in 17 years of doing this, and over 4,600 and something homes that I've been a part of selling. I've never seen anything like this. Multiple offers, 17 offers on properties. They're selling in minutes, not just days. And we listed 2 expired listings over the weekend. So there are expireds. I know the mindset is, oh, there's not any, there's not any. I promise there are, and I promise you your competition isn't calling them. I guarantee it. And this is a company that we started here, Kinder Reese. Our brokerage is our flagship kind of office. I have an office in Lawton, Oklahoma, if you don't know me. Selling above 300 homes a year for the last, 10 years probably, something like that. So since about 2000 and I don't remember exactly what year it was, maybe 2003. So, and my growth looked like this. So I'm going to teach you, what I'm teaching you is going to be based off of my personal experience and the experience of clients that we work with and help coach and help, help build these systems for them at NAEA. But I went from 72 to 110 to 233 to 367, and then I did 368, and then I went to, I think, 4 something, I don't really remember. It was 420 something, I think it was 427, and then to 531. So that was my transactions over a period of time. 72 to 110, boom, huge. So what I'm going to be sharing with you is, what did I do right here? Something I did dramatically different that gave me the lift of 110 to 233 to 367. And then I'm going to share with you the big mistake that I had made right here between 367 and 368. And after correcting it, we continued on the path moving upwards. And I've since stepped out of the business and no longer work day to day with buyers and sellers. I train people how to do that in our own companies and within NAEA. So if you didn't know that, I'm going to share that with you. So yeah, I'm speaking from experience, my own personal experience. So I only want to share things that I know have worked for me and I've seen work for others. I don't want to share anything with you that I don't know for a fact. So what I'm going to share with you is absolutely proven, and I know it will work. So rest assured of that. So here's the thing, with FSBOs and expireds, there's no lead that I can share with you, no matter where you're at in your business, that's free in terms of the cost to generate the lead. So when you have a free cost per lead, and you think about any other marketing we could do, right? Direct mail, I could put billboards, bus benches, TV, I could do radio, and we're going to talk about the celebrity and endorsed radio and TV here later. I'm going to share that with you, the real Holy Grail, which is amplifying everything else you do. This is a game changer, and I'm going to share with you how to really see if you're qualified to move into that arena with celebrity endorsements, which is something that we have a very strong relationship with, and can help you prepare for that and also qualify for that. So with the company that we work with. So it's something that, very few agents, one agent per market, kind of an opportunity, and it's very awesome. But we're also going to talk about some other ways if your market may be taken and you already know that, the Barbara Corcoran endorsement isn't available, or radio is taken up in your market by an agent that's dominating dominating and Glenn Beck and or Sean Hannity or any of these other celebrity endorsements that you know someone's already doing in your market. I'm going to show you how to compete in a different arena than that and still get massive results. Okay, so you have some opportunity here, maybe a couple different ways to do it, if you will. So so the FSBO expired, you have to have this pillar up and running. So generally at this point, you should have an inside sales agent, right? So you probably do, or you know that you should. And what that is ideally you were making these calls and you were setting appointments, but the average commission here is about $10,000. So on average in the I think the average 200,000 sale price in US, whatever your average is, $5,500, $6,500 average commission. Do whatever math it is, but at that pace, and especially in a hot market, getting these types of listings, FSBOs and expired, is going to be worth an average of $5,000 or $6,000 a whack. But there's no cost to acquire the customer, so it's a very unique position to be able to acquire a customer at zero cost. Okay, most businesses don't have that opportunity, but in real estate we do. And skipping it because they're harder or because we don't want to mess with it or because we're busy doing other things is just not a good excuse. You should be going on and you should be closing on average in any market, and I'm in a market of only 100,000 and we close on average 5 to 7 every month. The minimum you should be doing 5 to 7 coming from the FSBO expired group. Absolutely without fail. And if you do the math, right? That's worth $30,000 or more a month. You're talking about easily $360,000 in revenues that could be coming in. So one of the most important things that I did in my business was I absolutely ignored everything that had anything to do with the buy side of the business, and I focused on listings. Okay, and if you do that religiously, what will happen is you will get buyers, because what happens when you get signs in the yards? Buyers call. What happens when you promote that listing online or promote it on Facebook, even promote it in so many different ways. There's so many buyers out there right now. What do? They call on the listing. Buyers just want homes, and there's no real benefit to spending a ton of money on the buy side of the business, hiring a bunch of agents just to get more units. Okay, so if there's one thing I want you to walk away from in this opportunity is don't get caught up in trying to get to 300 as much as you are worried about your profit. So it's really, honestly, it isn't about 300, it's about max profit and max time off. So agree or disagree? All right, so that's what it's about, right? You can I can show you awards. I can fill up this room and this table with award after award after award after award. And I was so caught up in all that. At Coldwell Banker, I was top 1 or 2 in the world for Coldwell Banker. Number 2, I never made number 1 in the world for Coldwell Banker for years before I went independent. And I loved all my awards. Boy, I thought they were great. But I got so caught up in that I wasn't paying attention as I was growing this. What happened was where I was super profitable right here. And I was profitable here, but I became less profitable as I solved a lot of the problems that I had created for myself in building my business that fast. And ultimately, I got up to 531 deals, and I wasn't making any more money than I was when I was doing 233 deals. So it's not about the transactions, and I was working way harder, way harder. Trust me, you think you're working hard now at 100 deals or below 100 deals? You think it's hard right now? Wait till you have all of the problems that you have going on at the higher level and the challenges of managing all of that business as well as doing the production. So it pulls you out of production a lot of times and you become a leader and there's other things. And it's great, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you shouldn't build a team, but I think you should do it profitably. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to kind of share with you briefly how we do that. So focus is really on maximum profitability and max time off, right? What you really want is quality of life. So what we want to do is we want to stack Benjamins and we want to have time off. We want the ability to do whatever it is we want, whenever we want. If they want to give away awards for that, my award is based on my balance in my account. How much money do I have in my account? That's what matters, okay? Because money is what gives you freedom, okay? So it's not about the money, but it is about the money. You have to have a vision for what you want to build to get to this level, and you gotta love what you do, but don't fall victim to hiring a whole bunch of buyer agents, focusing on the buy side of the business, and not having these revenue pillars in place to make sure that you are driving revenue and you're driving your growth with profit. And your bank balance is a direct reflection of your profitability. Profit drives cash. So if you're not building cash, then there's something wrong in your model. You have either hired too many buyer agents, or you've got too much admin, or you haven't really clearly defined roles and responsibilities, or you're not doing the most productive things because you're working on other areas of the business that you may like doing, but that's not profitable. And we can help you solve all of these problems. This is something we do on a daily basis. But that's the real challenge, is what am I doing that's driving the profit? Making the calls and getting face-to-face with sellers is what makes you the most money per hour. Okay, so I've done the math before, and I'll erase this. We'll get into this third one here in a second. The kind of the universal offer, if you will, of home evaluation, and why that is the most important thing to put into place next. So when it comes to the seller side of the transaction, here's what happens. When a seller versus buyer, I'm going to convince you of this, okay? So if you don't believe me, you will hopefully after this. So real simple. Track the amount of time you spend with buyers, not including the ones that, and include the ones that don't buy. How many hours of showing with those buyers that you spend, and amount of time we've added it up. It comes up to about 21 hours, actually, 18 to 21 hours. So there's 21 hours spent here. And that includes the closing process and everything else. But you spend 21 hours with a buyer, okay? And on with appropriate systems in place, not anything any different than you'd have on the buy side. You might have a closing coordinator, obviously at this point, that are managing your closings and stuff. That's going to take some stuff off your plate. But you're going to spend 2 to 3 hours. I got it down to 1 hour. The time that I spent with a seller. 1 hour. So for 1 hour, in this market, you're talking about, a $10,000 an hour job to get being face to face. That's a lot. And it may, again, your market's going to be maybe not as, I'm from Lawton, Oklahoma, where my average commission was like, my first year in the business, my average sale price was $49,000. So I know what it's like to be broke and have a horrible average sale price. So if that's you, you can still do this and be profitable. And my business is still running and still profitable. So in Lawton, but this is what it is in Frisco. Wow. So you've got a huge average sale price like this. You can make so much money. It's not even, it's unbelievable. But with the buyer, look at that, 21 hours. That's 21 times the amount of time that I would have to invest with a buyer. So you're talking about, that's a 21x. That's not realistic necessarily, because you're going to spend a little bit more than an hour until you have some systems in place that we would show you. But 21x is the time investment is that's the best ROI on time is what we're talking about. It's a return on your investment of time. So if we can focus in on just making sure that you are getting face to face and with qualified, motivated home sellers, you are going to make a lot more money a lot faster. So getting the buy side off of your plate is important. The third one that we're going to talk about is the home evaluation. So the home evaluation is really the Holy Grail for marketing. Okay, so when it comes down to a homeowner that wants to know what their home is worth, if they want to know what their home is worth, well, let me ask you a question. Have you ever met a seller that didn't want to know what you thought the home was worth? Right? It's the one thing they want. That's all. If you just give them that, they'll be happy, basically, on the appointment. So every single seller wants to know what the home value is. So early in the process, what happens is they start doing a home search, right? You see it, everybody in the world is doing it. There's home evaluation opportunities and products and this, that, and the other. And I'm not going to get into the tool that we use is Leads Today. It's leadstoday.com. It's the best tool by far. There's a whole lot of reasons I'm not going to get into right now, but that's what we're using to drive anywhere from 7, I think we have 8 under contract right now, sellers under contract. And we started this company straight cold. So they didn't know who we were in this market when we started. So we're getting up to that, averaging 5 to 7. We got 8 going, this month, which is great. But that's the tool we use to do that. It's the infrastructure and everything else. But we are marketing home evaluation. Why? Because we can market that to the masses, and the leads that come in, we're incubating a database of people who are interested in knowing what their home's value were. What that is they're early in the process of wanting to know what the value of their home is. They're early in the selling process. They're thinking about selling, or they know they're going to sell in 3 months, 6 months, sometimes 12 months. We listed one this weekend that was a year and 1 day old. I had no idea. But who knows? You never know. It may take forever, may not. But we incubated that over time, and we're able to turn that into a steady flow of listings by marketing to them, which is the next step, maximization. So I'm just going to give you a real quick example of this is a box. Actually, we just had literally this morning a call in for someone that was requesting the box to be sent to them. So we actually had them request a home seller's kit. This is a branded box through NAEA that we created for our brokerage, Kinder Reese. And it has, essentially it has a lot of the materials that if you're going to be meeting with somebody, there's two things that you have to do. Two things that you have to do in order to turn an opportunity, a home seller, a home evaluation lead, into turn it into an appointment, a listing appointment that you can go on. For them to pick up the phone and call you and say, hey, I want to meet with you about selling my house. So the reason that somebody picked up the phone was they saw value in what was in this kit. So this one in particular isn't the one we sent. It was how to sell your home for up to 18% more and why great homes don't sell. So this was one we do for expireds. These are reports you get when you're a member of NAEA. That we've created over the years explaining what you need to do to get your home sold and why your home didn't sell, that sort of thing. And then there's always materials in here. This is an interview that we do. We made this scalable. So this is something as a member of NAEA, we do this for you. It's done for you. We create this stuff for you. But it's all the same laws. Everything's all the same. And it's all very, very simple. But what it does is it creates two things. We're offering them something of value. And at the same time, we are showing up like nobody else. No one else is doing anything like this. No one else really has the materials in place that positions them as true experts. And what happens is authority, which is what this creates for us, authority. We are the authority on real estate and the local market. We're consistently driving that message with everything that we're doing, communicating to home evaluation leads. And in doing that, what that does is it gets the phone to ring with somebody who's very interested and pre-sold, ready to do business with us. What that means is, fortunately for us, we don't have to go on this appointment. We have a salaried agent that goes on the appointment and takes the listing. But this branding is how you maximize the leads that you already have. So if you have FSBO expired and home eval, we're going to start mailing and marketing. We have a 13 postcard system. I don't have that in front of you. That goes to each of the different categories. If you're a home evaluation request, we find out what you're either moving up, you're moving out, or you're moving down. If you're selling, or you're selling an investment property. So you're either moving up to a larger home, down to something smaller for whatever the reason may be. And there's and you have a home you got to sell and you're wanting to buy. These are all conversations that we want to have with those and segment that and market to them appropriately, which is all our direct mail and our email communication does. But this is how you maximize those leads. So out of 2,268 leads that we had in our Leads Today database that we had home evaluations over the last 12 months, we actually were able to get 70 of them to reply to an email that was a very short and sweet email, and it was 17. I can't remember exactly what the headline was. You'll have to ask us. We'll get it. If you get Leads Today, you get all this kind of stuff. But that's the email got 70 responses. We listed 2 of them right away, and I think we have 4 or 5 appointments from those. And we just couldn't get back to them all fast enough, to be honest. We shouldn't have sent it out to all the database. We didn't know it was going to work that well. But we had a bunch of listings that we took from that, and we got a bunch more we probably will take. I think we'll end up taking 8 or 9 listings out of that 70 responses. We had 17 offers on a property, and we asked, hey, are you thinking about selling? And boom, all of a sudden people responded. It was crazy. So very cool. But that's what maximization is, right? So maximization, don't go to the next pillar and do direct mail and farming, and I'm going to do some things with referrals, and I'm going to build this marketing and this and that and the other. Don't do all that stuff, right? So if you want to get to doing more deals, focus on, let's spend money on the oil wells you already have to make them pump more oil for you, right? So it didn't cost you any more money to generate that lead or any more time or effort or energy, but the thing that happens is you start to reverse the game a little bit, where leads are calling you instead of you having to chase them. So this is the whole attract, not chase business. It's the best. One day you will wake up in your business and phones will be lighting up with people calling to do business with you, and you will absolutely, it'll be a completely different world. It's unbelievable the difference from pounding it out every day, working so hard, to getting to the point where people are calling you, they know you, they respect you, they trust you. And it's happening across these 3 pillars first. So maximization is the next level. You want to take and you want to differentiate yourself, and you want to create opportunities from those 3 listing pillars. So you generate those leads. This is a very small marketing budget, by the way. At this point, you're not spending a lot of money. You might have an inside sales agent. You probably should, because you're going to be going on so many appointments. And to manage those calls and the leads, you might have a budget of $1,000 maybe. And that's on the super, not super aggressive. Super aggressive would be $2,000, which is what we spend. But that's depends on what your threshold is, right? So you can do it with $200 and have success and do a couple deals from a couple extra deals from that. But if you want to do more and more deals, you're going to have to increase your marketing spend. It's inevitable. But the lowest cost per lead thing you can do is the home evaluation lead, because it's going to appeal to every homeowner in any stage of the process. Does that make sense? All right. So the last one is amplification. So that's what happened for me. Here's I'll share with you what this is. I'm not apologizing for it not being the prettiest. I don't claim to have the best handwriting. Never have. So from 110 transactions, and it's not right. I think it was 130 is what it was. But from 130 to from 72 to 130 or whatever it was, the focus was on the 3 pillars. Nothing but listings. So that was on the 3 pillars. I just dominated that. Did really well with exactly what I'm sharing with you. Then that got me over the hump, over 100 finally, and quite well. I had a few administrative. At this point, I had no buyer agents. At 233 transactions, I had no buyer agents. What I did have was I had billboards, and I had newspaper. I hate to even admit that, because I had a full page ad in the newspaper. Now if you can see real closely, there's gray hair there. So billboards, newspaper, and radio. So I had 3, and I'm gonna tell you, this is the process. If you're at this range, you don't do billboards, newspaper, radio, or any other direct mail. Okay, direct mail to neighborhoods or anything like that. You don't do just sold. You don't do anything large media that's really expensive unless you're doing 2 things at one time. Okay, because what happens is this is where you start to see amplification of your marketing. So people that you could be doing billboards, and people that you might get 5 calls a month on your billboards, and then all of a sudden you're in the newspaper every week in a full page ad, which is what I was doing, and people saw more of my billboards. I got more calls from billboards all of a sudden. And what happens is you start to own the mind share in the area that you're servicing. You start to own the mind share of the consumer. When they think real estate, if they drive by one of your signs, okay, that's an impression. And if they drive by your billboard, that's another impression. And if they see your ad on Sunday, that's another impression. And it takes at least 21, I want to say, is the number that I've read. 21 impressions for someone to even know who you are. And you've got all these competitors in your marketplace that are doing all these different things. But if you can have 21 impressions on somebody, then when it comes time to think real estate, you're going to be in the top 1 or 2 or 3. And the goal is to be in the top 1 or 2. If you're like Procter & Gamble, you want to be number 1 in every category. But that's what you're trying to accomplish with whatever the market is. So you don't want to spread it out all over town. If you're doing a billboard, you'd want to do mail to a neighborhood that's next to the billboard, because it's going to amplify the results. That makes sense. So these are the kind of the strategy, what I was doing. I started radio and was doing full page newspaper and billboards all at the same time, and boom, it was exploded. But had I not, again, in a low average sale price neighborhood, had I not had the money from Visible and Expired, there's no way that I could have made the investment on all 3 of those basically at one time. And as you can see, it exploded. Now here's where the most miserable year of my life came in. During this year, which I want to say was 2002, maybe 2001 or 2002, 2003 maybe. What happened was I gave the worst service to my clients that I ever could have given. Not because I didn't love them and want to give them a great service, but because I did not have the systems and processes in place to handle this. I had no idea at a young age, 23, 24, 25, that I could blow my business up that fast. I had no idea it was possible. And at this point, I started hiring buyer agents, so I'm managing buyer agents, I'm buying things to help them do more deals, and I'm trying to train them, and I'm going on all these appointments, and I'm not keeping up with my clients as well as I should have. So that's that. I had to put all those systems in place, and then it allowed me to scale on up a little bit from there. So that's the amplification. Okay, the Holy Grail to this is really TV and radio. And one of the opportunities that you may have, there's only one agent per marketplace. We work with radio and television experts. He actually is the person that did my radio for my ads in Lawton, Oklahoma. He worked at Clear Channel. Matt Wagner, he's a great guy. He's a good friend of mine and a business partner of mine. And what we're doing is we're helping real estate agents that want to own and dominate a market get prepared to be able to really amplify everything and really see the huge gains by having celebrity endorsements with TV, radio, and other things. Now, if your market's taken, which a lot of them, if not most of them, actually I think most of them are. I mean, honestly, in all honesty, probably 80% of all markets are full with an agent that will never ever turn loose of this. So if your market happens to be available, it's a miracle. And based on your finances, we would tell you if you need to move forward or not. And we will never steer you in the wrong direction, which is why there's an opportunity for you to fill out an application somewhere on this page. To apply to see if this is something that you would be able to, is a good fit for you. If nothing else, what I can promise you is that we will give you a call, we will set up a time, and we will basically go over the right things in the right order for you, from where you're at to where you want to go, free of charge, help you with understanding where you're at and where you want to go. And if you're in a market that's open and you choose to want to move down that path of having a celebrity endorsement, we will help you get prepared for that. So that's just a service that we're providing really for a good friend of mine that helped me. And we love working with real estate agents that want to dominate their market. You're our favorite kind of client to work with because it is life-changing. It is really life-changing. So very cool. So that's pretty much the 4 things that I wanted to share with you. Again, if you're wanting to get the shift that I want you to have is 75 to 300 transactions. Forget about the 300 transactions. Let's worry about profitability and taking more time off, having a quality of life, because that's really what you're after. You'll be doing the deals. That'll take care of itself. You'll win all the awards anyways as a byproduct. The 3 listing pillars are FSBO, expired, and home evaluation. Then we're going to maximize that by spending the money differentiating ourselves with direct mail marketing, mainly direct mail marketing. There is some other offline things that we do with retargeting, ads online and stuff like that. That's very cool. It also is making you top of mind. And again, you're just making yourself top of mind with all of these people. That's what marketing applies to all of these areas here. You're maximizing, you're making yourself top of mind. And here you become top of mind to the general public in your marketplace, and you become literally a celebrity yourself. You walk into restaurants and people are whispering, "Hi, that's that so-and-so." And that's a level that people can't take that from you. You earn the #1 spot in your marketplace or #2 spot in your marketplace. You pretty much you've been made, if you will, and it's an awesome feeling. So we love to help agents get to that. That's our wheelhouse. We've probably made more agents $1 million a year producers than anyone else in the country. That's what we focus on. It's what we love doing. And if you're interested and you think that's something you want to do and you want to have a free coaching call, if you want to call it that, but really a strategic planning call from where you're at to where you want to go. Again, this is really more for someone around 75 transactions. If you're doing less than 25 transactions, we really probably, this is not a strategy call I would get on. You need to be doing at least probably 50 to 75. And you want to build something massive, and you want to have celebrity endorsements, and you want the phone to ring off the hook. So I wanted to provide something of value to you, and hopefully, if nothing else, whether you decide that's something that you want to have help with or have some guidance on or some advice on through NAEA, that you'll choose to fill out the application, and we'll give you a call, and we'll schedule with one of our success coaches, and we'll walk you through the steps and kind of where you're at, and at least give you some guidance on how to build it more profitably if you're going to do it on your own. And then if you would like our help, we can help you there too. And ultimately, maybe if your marketplace is open, we'll let you know that as well. and very quickly might be able to turn on some celebrity endorsements like Barbara Corcoran and some other awesome endorsements that will absolutely change your life. So hopefully that's an opportunity for you. I really do hope that it is available for you. And that's all I've got. And as we say at the National Association of Expert Advisors, we will see you at the top or from the top. Have a great day. I hope this was valuable.